Okay, the geniuses will see us now.
I'm a pro.
He's very unprofessional.
Very unprofessional.
These are our newly arrived surgeons, Doctors Trowbridge and Greenbaum.
Doctor?
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 We're not doctors.
Are you sure they can handle this?
Oh, we can handle it. We're professionals.
You'll forgive us if we're not instilled with confidence.
Potentially unprofessional pieces of content.
So welcome to the podcast. This is Unprofessional. I'm a third-year medical student. My name's Trevor, and I'm currently studying in New York City. This is my guest today, Silke Maria Haas, and she's an osteopathic physician. She's a naturopathic physician, a certified surgical technologist, international coach and healer. She runs and operates Crazy Healing, where she gives energetic coaching to clients. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. And except for the technical surgeon, that's all correct.
Oh yeah, what's the technical surgeon?
No, I'm not.
You're not? Okay. What's the?
I'm not, because in Europe, osteopaths are not physicians. It's an independent profession.
Okay.
So we are in Germany. I have almost all the rights as if I was a physician, except for signing death certificates.
Okay. Otherwise, you have all the rights of a physician. You can prescribe medication. You can perform any. No,
I can't.
You can't do any of that. Okay.
I can't. In Germany, I could.
Okay.
In Spain, I can't.
Oh, I understand.
I'm from Germany, and I'm also a Heilpraktiker, which is the German physician. Naturopathic physician.
Okay. I understand. So but you're not based in Germany, so you aren't able to do those types of things.
If I was based in Germany, I could do it, and here I'm not doing it.
Okay.
I'm only working with my hands.
Okay. Got you. So do you have clients that are in Spain and see you there, or are you just visiting, or how does that work?
No, I have a practice here for over 20 years.
Okay, I understand.
And I see people from all over the world, obviously. Some people come specially. There's a lot of residents, of course, German, English, Spanish, French, Italian, Russian, whatnot.
So tell us more about what you do.
I help people with problems. And a lot of them come with physical problems like back pain, joint pains, headaches, any sort of stuff that quite often the traditional doctors can't solve, or not enough. And then I look at the mechanical side of things. I resolve blockages on a mechanical way in the body, but also on an energetic way. And because a lot of people push things in their body, I often end up dealing with the emotional issues that come up as a result, or that were the original cause of the pain.
I see. And do a lot of these people go through the traditional route first? They try, maybe medication, they try the traditional Western therapy, and then they come to you?
Yes, a lot of them do that, but there's also people that from their mindset and their personal philosophy, they wouldn't go to doctors. So I have both ends. I
see. Do you find a difference between the two types of people?
Yes, I find it, but I don't. One of my things is to live without judgment. So sure. Whatever comes is welcome. And I very much see my work as something complementary to medicine. So I would, if there's something that needs investigating, I would send them to the doctor and get the tests done. And I would write letters, and I cooperate with doctors here. So I'm very lucky that I have a good network here that we collaborate.
So you work one-on-one with physicians, or you just kind of work on the side?
No, they just recommend people to come.
I see. So let's get more into what you do with them. So do you do meditation? You do yoga? Do you do osteopathic work with them? What do you do?
Wait, see, that's the thing. I work so diverse. So till somebody comes, I have no idea what I'm going to do.
Right.
But mostly, say, if it's a pain, I would take a detailed testicle history, accidents, operation, illnesses, medications, anything that's contraindicated, especially asking what they have done before and what's worked and what hasn't worked. Because if they've tried different osteopaths before, I usually trust my colleagues. So I think, well, if it's not an osteopathic problem, then I'll try something else. So I would sometimes use kinesiology, muscle testing, to find out more about the origin of the blockage. But quite often I'd look at the person standing in their underwear, and I'd see the structure, and I'd see where the tension is and the pain. And then I'll decide together with the patient which way we're going to resolve it. So it's very easy for me.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at your website and the things you told me so far, I mean, you have quite the diverse skill set. I mean, all the way from, what is it, osteopathy, which is, manipulating joints and muscles and things like that. And then, kinesiology, all the way to like shamanic healing and such. And I think that's where some people go awry when they think of these types of healing in Western medicine, especially, my friends, my colleagues, and myself even at times, is you hear buzzwords like shamanic healing and you go, that's baloney. That's
Absolutely.
not, I can't believe that. So what, I'm sure you get some of that, but although people who come to you are clients and they're looking for help, so maybe they're not questioning it too much. But what do you say to the people who do question it when those types of words come up?
Usually I speak the language of the person that comes in. So if there's doctors, which they do, I would speak a medical language, and I can explain everything I do in medical terms, which I'm lucky I can do that. And I can keep it very down to earth, mechanical, and explain it with anatomical and physiological laws. I think we go as far as agreeing that there is energy and there is life force, and that life is a miracle. No matter, and that's where the energy comes in. I don't use the term shamanic. I've actually decided to cross that out again.
That's fair.
It is a sort of energy work, and I find it clashes with people's belief system. So I don't want to be put in the religious box. I don't believe half of the things I do, which is a great thing.
Really?
Because I say to people, look, I have no idea how this works. I can do it. I can do this.
Yeah.
And if it solves your problem, neither me nor you care how it works. It's like, taking a mobile phone and say, well, I don't need to understand this thing to make it cool. All I need to do is know how to employ it. And because I've done it for 25 years, I can do this pretty well.
Yeah, that's a very good point. You don't necessarily need to know how something works to be like, it works. Who cares, And that goes along with one thing that I've always thought about is the placebo effect is better than not using the placebo effect. So why would we not use it to help people if it helps people? You know what I mean? If we can give someone that may or may not truly directly affect, their muscle joint that's in pain, but they feel better.
Because they believe it. Absolutely. I mean, belief plays a big part, but then I say, if it works, even if I don't believe it and you don't believe it, it's even better.
It's even better then?
Yeah, because then people don't believe it and they're really critical. And I do this. I touch people and I say, this is a blockage. People will feel the pain and the sensitivity. And then I'll do one of these weird and wonderful things. And 10 minutes later, the pain will be gone without me touching them. And they'll feel better for it. And I say, well, don't have to believe it. It's just, if it works for you, then fine. Just take it and don't have to come back.
Right. That's the goal, right? That's fantastic.
I prefer getting people better long term, which is why I got more into the coaching, because again, the pain usually has an origin that's beyond the rational mind. That's problems that people have in their lives, weights on their shoulder, pain in their neck.
Interesting. Is that's what you usually find, is the pain has more to do than what's like the rational mind can understand?
Absolutely. I mean, if the rational mind could solve it, they wouldn't be coming to me.
Right,
They would
that's
have
true.
solved it themselves. They're intelligent. But if you have a relationship problem, or even if you have a disease, your rational mind can only take you as far as going to see a doctor and not much else. Body language is a total irrational language.
What would you say is the most common complaint you have of someone who comes in to see you?
in England or in Germany when I work, it would probably be back pain. Just because osteopathy is known for that, and there's been studies, and it's got a reputation. Here in Spain, it's great because people don't have a preconceived ideas about osteopathy.
Okay.
So if you can cure somebody's back pain, you can cure somebody's depression, and then you can, my specialty is babies and children. So I help babies with who cry a lot and they don't sleep, and they don't need to believe in this.
Right. If it works though.
Well, I mean, they get mechanically compressed at birth. I mean, it's as simple as that.
To a ridiculous extent. Yeah.
To a ridiculous extent. And more so if there is intervention. And also if there's a cesarean, because then the whole system energetically doesn't ignite, and the baby often is frustrated for not having done it themselves.
Okay. I'll take your word on that one.
So, well, that's just experience.
I'll have to see more of that. I mean, here in New York, just a side note, I mean, I'm in the obstetrics and gynecology rotation right now. And I mean, there's just not enough people coming in for gynecology appointments and stuff like that because of COVID. So I don't see as much as I wish I could. But how is it in Spain? Is COVID really bad there?
Yeah, supposedly we're high risk. So all right, let's take a step back. So one thing I definitely want to talk to you about, and maybe just for my own interest, is I'm seeing the benefits more from, in a general sense, like meditation and yoga and being aware and being conscious and things like that, to people's physical health and mental health. And we're seeing way more this day and age problems with mental health. It's a common just thing that people say who are younger than me, who are in their early 20s and late teens, is just, oh, I'm depressed. And that's just like a normal thing. Like everyone's depressed. How do you think we will develop these types of practices to be able to reach all these people? Like, how do you think, what's the best way to go about trying to convince people that this is what's best for them? That's
Do you understand
a
the
great
question?
Yes,
Yeah.
I totally. I said, first of all, I really appreciate that you're reflecting on this. And I mean, when I started this journey, which is when I was your age, so 30 years ago, nobody was talking about meditation. I was in India and I had these experiences and I had nobody to talk to. So thankfully nowadays we can talk. It's become common sense. And in my personal opinion, body mind has never been separated. I mean, even an emotion, it's a chemical reaction. And then how you interpret the emotion then is a thing of your mind. And unless we bring back the wholeness of body, mind, and emotions and spirit, there is not much way for me to solve the problems that we now have for humanity. That's my personal opinion. And my big dream that we become part of mainstream medicine, people like you that take it out there and they're open to this. And the best way to bring it into the world, to answer your question, is you live it, you represent it. You try it out, and when you come from experience and people see what you do, then you don't have to convince them.
Well, and it's funny, one thing you said earlier was there's some things that you don't have to convince people of, even if they don't believe what you believe at all. Like, a doctor who's firmly based in Western medicine, everyone seems to have this weird understanding that there is like some type of energy or some type of presence. And if you just say it in the right way like that, then they go, oh yeah, well, of course there's that. And then it's like, okay, now we're on the first step to, understanding each other when it comes to this. Because everyone does believe that there's some type of energy.
Yeah, and we're all looking somehow for meaning in life. So if you just think, well, this is it, then it becomes very limited and a lot of things don't make sense.
So the best thing we can do is lead by example. And I have always thought that, and I agree too. Is there anything else we can do? I know, you're literally practicing it with clients. But I guess advice for me, maybe even, I run a podcast and I'm trying to convince people as well. I think first of all, I think trying to force it down people's throats obviously is not the way, but just try to maybe connect with them on some type of level like that, where it's like, okay, first we need to understand this energy and then we can go on from there. Or any other thoughts on that?
Well, great question. I think, yeah, I would not try to convince people, because that comes from a place of arrogance. It would more be you be it and you inspire people. I mean, you becoming visible and making yourself visible is already inspiring people. And you inviting people on this podcast, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you ever understand energy. Again, understanding for me is a concept of the mind, and the mind has its place,
Mm-hmm.
but it's very limited when it comes to love, relationships,
Mm-hmm.
health.
Right.
It just has a limited place, and it can be as powerful of a torturer
Mm-hmm.
than it can be a source of bliss and joy.
That's honestly the step I'm at right now. I just finally separated the fact in my head that the mind is different than these other processes that are going on in my body. I'm like, oh my God, that's so important. I finally understand that now. Yeah.
So I call the body and the breath and the mind my three friends.
Body, breath,
and the mind is, but yeah, body, breath, and mind, because body's with you from the beginning to the end, breath is with you from the beginning to the end, and mind is with you from about the age of 3 or 4. When you actually come into this world, you're blissfully non-judgmental, full of joy, and just being pure presence and essence, till we start educating ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And
Another
then it's
thing
a question of deprogramming it.
of deprogramming what?
The negative conditioning of the mind.
I see.
And I know this because I have been depressed and I've been burned out, and that's how I come to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So I know.
Another question I have for you. One thing I've realized is that one of the best things I ever did for myself was hold myself accountable and almost have a negative mindset at one time. So I wasn't doing the things I needed to do to get the job done, right? I wasn't studying enough, or I wasn't, talking enough to this people or whatever. Until I looked in the mirror and held myself accountable and was like, look, you aren't that smart. You need to work harder than other people. You don't, connect with people as well. You need to just go out and start talking to people so you have can build some type of charisma. Until I did that and was like, look, you're not good at this, I couldn't get better. So how do you reconcile the two of not being, I don't know, too negative, or being negative, from holding yourself accountable or telling yourself what is real, what's happening in reality?
Right, that's great. I mean, you only have 2 voices in your head. I have more than that. Yeah, there's the devil and the angel. So there's the thing that we know what we need to do, but we don't do it. Procrastination, perfectionism, whatever. And then there's all these conditioned things based on negative beliefs, like I'm not good enough. I mean, maybe there's also, well, you don't want to really do what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another one too, right? Like, what if you just don't enjoy this, and why are you doing it still? Yeah, I mean, I guess that's something that the people have to figure out for themselves, which one is the truth, or how much truth is to each thing. But yeah,
I'm very much about letting people follow their joy, but say, if you want to become a doctor, you must have a big why. You must have a big love for humanity, helping people, because nobody does this just for the money. Yeah, this is the job you have to. It's quite tough. You have to study a lot. Yeah, right. And so of course it's heavy, but what you can do with it is something that you will enjoy. So that's a question of discipline, and seeing it through.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's take a sidestep here. One thing, sorry, this is getting all personal with me, but one example I have is, so I want to talk about the connection between like medication and just working through things on your own, especially when it comes to mental health and such. First, so let's say, I mean, there's a lot of people with ADHD and depression and things like that. So you could take something like an SSRI for depression, or Adderall or something like that, a stimulant for ADHD. At what point do you think medication should come into play versus working through it on your own, or should they work hand in hand?
It's a great question. Well, I think the safety is the most important thing. So when it comes to depression, if there's a risk of suicide or that person harming themselves or others, that's for me a definite for medication. It depends on the severity of the depression. I usually say, when people haven't medicated yet, I say, well, let's give it 3 sessions. If we don't get the results, go and see the doctor. And if they are on medication, I say, well, don't stop the medicine until you're significantly feeling better, and then go and talk to your doctor so they can reduce the medication little by little. This is where complementary things comes in. Same thing with ADHD. I mean, there is great supplements for it. There's lots of alternatives. But it really depends on the degree of disruption and the social stresses caused by it on the parents as well. So if the medicine in the short term, gets some relaxation in and takes the stress off, for then the therapy to work, then that, for me, that's an okay solution.
Yeah, I mean, in Western medicine right now, we've finally started to implement, cognitive behavioral therapy and things like that to go and complement medication, which is great. And it's actually the first line treatment for a lot of psychiatric disorders. So that's great. I think if we can get, I don't know if the word is get away from medication is better, but you said it great. I mean, if there's risk of harm or in themselves or others, then I think medication is very necessary. Or if it helps in general and the side effect, the benefits are greater than the risks, I think then it's great.
Yeah, exactly. And we have choice, so people have free will. So I would always respect whatever somebody is choosing, and work alongside. I mean, some medications also block the receptors that I need to do my work. So it's a little more challenging, but there's always something that can be done.
What about, how do you get away from, like, so let's say a client comes into you and they're talking about something maybe that's too far from what you believe in. Like, oh, I got these gems, from someone at Prospect Park, and I think that they're curing me, of this great ailment I have. How do you try to work with that?
I would use one of my favorite phrases, in my head only. What an interesting point of view.
Yeah. Right.
And as you said, placebos work. So if that person believes it, I'll let them take their gems, whatever. Who am I to have an opinion on it? I have no experience with it.
I suppose. And what if there's an obvious answer to this, but what if they are doing that and they're like, I truly believe that this is, curing this great, let's say they have some like signs of breast cancer, for instance, and obviously need some type of diagnostic imaging, but they're like, no, look, I this is helping me, like I feel much better after I've been using these gems. What do you tell them?
Well, I say it's my duty to send you to the doctor. I mean, that's responsibility. Whether they then do it or not, it's up to them, but it's my duty to send them to the doctor, and I would probably refuse treatment if I really saw that there was a necessity to go and see a physician, have some more diagnostics.
And the training that they give you guys, is it essentially the same. I'm just unaware. So like, let's say for DO, osteopathic, you did your training in Germany, is that correct?
No, I did.
Sorry.
I studied osteopathy when there was no osteopathy in Germany. So
Okay.
I went to London and studied 4 years full time at a private college, which is now a College of Osteopathic Medicine. And it's now a bachelor degree, it's not a diploma. But yeah, I did 4 years full time, 2 years of which was clinic. And then of course I haven't stopped doing other things.
Great. And the training they give, is it, as far as you know, similar to medical training as far as MD currently?
And we did things like dissection and physiology and anatomy, but we say we didn't learn to operate.
Okay.
You know, that was anything that was intervention in terms of opening up bodies. That's not part of osteopathic training in the United Kingdom.
Okay, I understand.
And of course, we don't deal with birth. We don't, you know, we're not allowed to treat like cancer or anything like that.
Okay, I see. I mean, that's most of the questions I have for you today. Is there anything else that you can think of that you wanted to talk about?
Well, first of all, I'm really grateful that I'm here.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to talk to you because I love your questions. They're really thought of. And I also like the entertaining part. I wasn't quite sure if I could make a joke here.
I think we did pretty good.
It's okay. And I would say that the main thing is when people have a pain and when they have something that's bothering them, it's okay, whatever solution they go for somebody to fix it, whether being a physician, an osteopath, or somebody else. But unless they find out the origin of that pain and come to the source and actually step into their power to solve their problems themselves, it's not a complete cure. Because I think depending on a medication, depending on another person, doesn't empower as it makes us weak. Yeah? It's a step in asking for help, which is why people even get better when they made the appointment. I don't know if you have that, but I've had it quite a lot. It's called Peter's Principle. That people make the appointment and the next day they're already better because they unconsciously have signaled to themselves, well, I'm considering myself worthy of receiving help. And I'm making a step. And so I'm already empowering myself and I'm willing to spend money on it.
Yeah, the body-mind connection is huge. And I think it'll be I hope and I think it'll be a big revolution in Western medicine in the coming years. And I hope we continue on this path. I think we're moving the right way. And yeah, I appreciate you coming on. It was really fun. I learned a lot. Before we go, any book recommendations you can give people who are interested in things that you teach?
My book isn't yet published, but it will be. It's called Heal and Empower Your Life.
Okay.
And if people want to stay in touch with me, then they can just go on my website, CrazyHealing.eu.
Okay.
And I'll be posting any news on there.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you very much.
We really appreciate it. And you have a great rest of your day. Okay. Enjoy Spain.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Lovely to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, there you have it, folks. So that was Silke Maria Haas. She was great to talk to. I think she has a lot to teach. And if you guys are interested in being one of her clients, you think she can help, you can reach her at the email that she just mentioned, and I will post it in the comments below. And you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.